Do you have every domestic studio release from your favorite band or artist in your vinyl collection? So, you're a completist. Today, I'm a completist for Fiona. Oh, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I gotta do the intro first. This is Brad Likes Music. I'm Brad, and today, I'm a completist for Fiona Apple. Her first studio album came out in '96. Title: best known for Criminal, which had an accompanying music video that received a lot of attention. It was a critique of the fashion industry that people misunderstood and critiqued her for instead because of the scantily clad models in the video. Notable tracks also, when it later comes back to kind of, well, we'll get there. Shadowboxer and Sleep to Dream are also other ones. She was a teenager when she made this. She was like 18 or 19 when it was released. Songs had been written even before that. She is the granddaughter of a jazz musician, her father an actor, her mother a musician, and also she has a sister who's a cabaret musician, singer, performer. So it's in her blood, obviously. And, you know, kind of soulful, beyond her years kind of sound, amazing piano playing. She'd been playing piano since she was 8. So an incredible debut album from Fiona Apple in 1996, peaking at 15 in the U.S. Billboard 200. She then went on to tour with Lilith Fair, Sarah McLachlan, and Paula Cole, Sean Colvin, Sheryl Crow, Indigo Girls, Emmylou Harris, you know, Lilith Fair. She also in '98 did an amazing cover of Across the Universe, which is a Beatles song. Another really amazing video as well with that song. If you haven't seen it or heard it, check it out. It's very much worthwhile. She then, because of the critiques and criticisms from the music video for Criminal, how she was perceived in the press and interviews, she had an article written about her in Spin magazine that was not the most favorable, and it did irk her. And so she wrote in response to that a 90-word, 444-letter poem, which then became the longest album title in the Guinness Book of World Records for close to a decade. And that was her second studio release in 1999, When the Pawn. On this, probably one of my favorite tracks, there are three. They're very notable. The first, I Know, which is the album closer. Her voice, piano, and strings. Production on this album was John Bryan, and they worked together quite a bit. Lush strings surrounding her voice and the piano, amazing. Fast as You Can, with these dynamic tempo shifts and rhythmic shifts that make the song very exciting. And then my absolute favorite from this is Paper Bag. The accompanying music video was filmed by her then boyfriend, Paul Thomas Anderson, who, side note, is now married to Maya Rudolph. The video is amazing, kind of retro feeling. The song is wonderful. It ends with this fade out of horns accompanying her, and it's reminiscent of a Steely Dan song, Deacon Blues, or even kind of some of the horn arrangements that are in Beatles songs. So it's an amazing one to check out. Her third studio album took us a while to get to. She was taking a break, basically. She didn't have any song ideas that were coming to her, and she was quoted for even saying, "Oh well, it's been fun." Basically, if no new songs were coming to her, she wasn't going to force it. But her friend John Bryan was going through a little bit of a tough time, wanted the distraction of writing music. They started, and they rented a mansion in LA, started recording piano, vocals, even went as far as to travel to London to record strings, again, to kind of create this characteristic sound that John liked around her voice and piano. And Sony heard it and thought, we don't see a single. They shelved it. Some tracks started to leak. Fans heard, and a letter writing campaign ensued. Sony then pushed Fiona Apple to continue in a new direction with the album with a new producer. So Mike Elizondo was brought on. He was most known for working with Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, Eve, hip hop world. They brought him on, and they did Extraordinary Machine. So this is her third studio release. This finally came out in 2005, If you want to hear a hint of what the original John Bryan version would have sounded like, the first track, Extraordinary Machine, and the last track, Waltz, Better Than Fine, are the tracks that he produced. Everything in between is Mike Elizondo. And there is a bootleg version available on all sorts of streaming services where you can hear what that original version would sound like. Extraordinary Machine, her third release. Another poem is the title of her 2012 release, The Idler Wheel. She this time worked with Charlie Drayton, who was her touring drummer at the time. And speaking of percussion, my favorite song on this is Hot Knife. It's percussion, her voice, sparse piano playing through. It sounds like a folk tune, and her vocals are layered almost like it's a round to create this amazing effect. The other one I love the lyrics for is Werewolf. She did actually tour with this one, which is her first tour in a while, where she actually toured outside of LA. And this one debuted at number 3 in the Billboard 200, and this was also very well received by music critics. And then the one that's been probably the best received, well, at least by Pitchfork, who gave it a perfect 10, is her 5th and final studio release, which was released in 2020. She recorded it actually between 2015 and 2020, recorded mostly at home, and recorded with Apple GarageBand, the software that comes with most Apple computers. That she could get this result from that software. I've used that to record something, and it's amazing that she got what she got out of it. She, though self-professed, said that she wasn't a pro at it, so it doesn't have the same kind of veneer that an album that would have been produced in studio would have, but that's what makes this exploratory, interesting. She pushes her voice in directions that she hadn't before, further, very experimental, using instruments and sounds. Even her dogs can be heard barking in the background in some of the tracks. So it makes it this atmosphere of home surrounding it, which is kind of what she wanted. And then the irony is that Fetch the Bolt Cutters came out in 2020 when all of us were spending a lot of time at home. She actually had the studio release date pushed up so that while people were still isolating at home, could enjoy this album. The title comes from a TV series called The Fall with Gillian Anderson, and her character says, "Fetch the bolt cutters." Fiona heard that and thought, there's a song, and created it, and it became the title track of the album. Other notable tracks, Shamika, for which she won a Grammy, and I Want You to Love Me, which is what opens this album. So, there we go. 5 studio releases in Fiona Apple's catalog. They're all in my collection. Who are you a completist for? What artist or band do you have all of the studio releases for in your collection? I want to know. Tell me in the comments, or make your own video and use the hashtag Completist so that I can find it. I have more videos coming because there are more artists that I have fully represented in my collection, and I can't wait to share them with you. So I'll see you next time. Until then, bye.